So if you're not familiar with a frost-free hydrant, but basically, when you pull the handle up, this little lever here pulls this shaft up, and this shaft goes all the way through this pipe to the end. So that shaft is going to open up a valve inside here, and on the end here, of course, goes to our water line. We'll put a fitting on there and put our black pipe in. Water can go up through, and when you close that valve on the other side, it comes down through here, and the little plunger closes, and then water can drain out of this little weep hole. So at least 3 feet of this is going to be below ground. So where that fitting is, that in the bottom section, that's below the frost line. So you can open up this valve, water will come up through in the winter, and when you close it, the water will drain back out, and you can continue operating this through the winter because it won't freeze up. There's no water in here, it drains. Today's project's getting that all set up, trying to get this all roughed in where it's going to go, getting our pipes run if we can, and then once that's all in place, we'll be good to go ahead and backfill. So one thing we got our fitting on, one thing to note is that this little opening, that's your weep hole. That's your drain hole. So there are threads inside here, and you can thread in a little 90-degree fitting if you want. Honestly, I kind of feel that my luck with things, I'm most likely to just break it off anyway when I'm working. Something will happen. It just seems like a small little brass fitting like that would just somehow just break it off. So I'm just going to leave it open. However, what I do plan on doing is I'll take a piece of landscape fabric, probably this big or so, something along these lines, and I'll wrap landscape fabric around it and then zip tie it on both sides. And that's just to keep grit and grime from clogging this little hole up and not allow it to drain. So we'll have landscape fabric over it, and then we're going to have big stones around it so that water can get out. And then we will have it inside a 5-gallon bucket, surrounded by 3/4 crushed stone, and then landscape fabric on top of that. And that should be more than adequate drainage. We get some pretty cold temperatures in Maine. Probably looking at maybe 10 below for like a week at most. So setting this one down in here 4 feet deep, we should not have any issues with frost. There'll probably be some other issue I haven't thought of, but it shouldn't be frost and freezing up. So I had to build a frame, a little bit of scaffolding just temporarily to actually hold that frost-free hydrant. It's so top heavy and so much weight that just sticking a T-post in the ground to kind of tie it off to wouldn't be enough. It's just too much play. Plus having to move it around and make the connections, and one of the problems is that a huge base for the grain silo is crushed stones. So when the excavator came through and cleaned out all the stones and dug us a trench, half of the stones started coming out from underneath the grain silo. So I spent a whole bunch of time having to build a staircase retaining walls, just temporary ones that are pressure treated in some old junk green U-poles, and just to hold all that stone and soil from falling into the trench. But what I got to do is get down there now, take the tape off of the weep hole. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the bottom of the fitting in landscape fabric because I don't want silt over time to migrate through the soil and clog up that little hole. Then I got a 5-gallon plastic bucket that I'm going to kind of wrap around the bottom of the hydrant, and that's going to get filled with stones, big 1-inch, 2-inch, 3-inch stones. Basically so that when you close the hydrant, when you're using it, after you're done using it, the water will go down and drain into that bucket. It can percolate out super easy. I may even put some landscape fabric around it. Then I'll probably backfill around that with a mixture of sand, probably some 3/4 crushed stone. A couple other things I'm going to do while I've got this set up is I'm going to run a line of heat tape down the hydrant and then a little ways down the pipe underground. Honestly, this should not ever be an issue, but it was like 20 bucks for the heat tape, and if it should ever freeze up at the bottom, at least I can use that heat tape to unthaw it and then address the problem later on, you know, kind of get me by. So it's more of just like a little piece of insurance. The hole is dug, the trench is done. Once this is backfilled, I do not want to have to unbury this anytime soon. So for 20 bucks, it's pretty cheap insurance. And I've got some black pipe insulation as well. I don't know that's really necessary, but I made just that length where the heat tape goes. And then after that, that's it. Should be good to start backfilling. All right, guys. It's been super hot out. So I got all the way around the grain silo all taken care of. So you can see we got our water line hooked up. And we got our electrical line hooked up. That rake fell over. I still need to bring some more soil in here. We have the rest of the trench to do, but that's gonna happen tomorrow. So for now, this part's all tied in. Tomorrow, we'll start running a sand bed through the rest of the trench, pumping out the water, separating our water and electrical, both horizontally and vertically, putting in some sand, putting in our flagging, backfilling it, and working our way all the way back to the house. And then Saturday, the plumber should come in. He's gonna help me tie it in, and then we should be good to go. All right, so I'm gonna do so our hydrant is all now hooked up. Now there's still some backfilling to do, filling in the rest of the trench with some sand and some stuff, but that's pretty boring. Supply side is all hooked up. The plumber came just the other day, tied it in for us. I forgot to film it, so here we are. So really, as soon as we pull this handle up, it's going to open this little shaft right here, which goes all the way down to the very bottom where our fitting is. Open it up. The water can flow in, starts flowing up the pipe. And we're running water, just like that. We shut it down. It closes down at the bottom, and where that little weep hole is, all this water in this pipe can just drain out and percolate down through our soil, our stones and our sand and our soil, and it won't freeze up. You know, there's no water left over in there to freeze. So really, the only things left are getting the supply side pipe all insulated, the conduit run and ready to go for the electrician, backfilling the rest of the sand and gravel to get that over with, and then maybe this year, we'll see, I'm going to build like a little shed around this little section here, a little pump house to kind of store all our water buckets and keep our feed and our water, and probably bunch of fencing stuff all in one location, centrally located where the animals are. This is going to make wintertime watering so much easier. There you go. If you're looking for one, this is the Campbell frost-free hydrant. You can find all kinds of variations on frost-free hydrants. They're great. You click on the link in our description. You'll go to our Amazon page where you can pick up your own. And it is an affiliate link, so obviously we get a small commission on that. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does help keep the channel going, basically. You know, it keeps offset all the time trying to do this and put these videos together, because it does take a considerable amount of time. So thanks for watching anyway. Hopefully this helps you out and gives you an idea what to get and how to get it set up. And if you have any questions, send them down below and I'll respond as soon as I can. All right, thanks guys. Bye.